All right, let's do it. Ready to dive into some incredible singing auditions?
I am. Always up for a good vocal showdown.
Me too. And today we're going deep with a top 10 list of the best singing auditions of all time.
Best of the best, huh?
Yeah, but we're not just ranking them. We're really going to break down what makes these performances so legendary.
Right, like what makes them stand out.
Yeah, the vocals, the stage presence, the emotion, the whole package.
The stuff that gives you chills.
Exactly. And I think it's so interesting how some of the most memorable auditions come from the most unexpected places.
Oh, for sure. Like who could forget Susan Boyle?
Yeah, talk about someone who flipped the script.
Totally. Remember her I Dreamed a Dream? Like if you see a seasoned performer nail that song, it's expected, right?
Right.
But with Susan, it was like, whoa, where did that come from?
It was such a shock. It was like watching a flower bloom in the middle of a desert.
Yeah, and the judges' faces were priceless.
Oh, yeah. They went from skeptical to, like, speechless.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Her voice, it wasn't just good, it had this raw quality.
Right. It was so genuine.
Yeah, you could feel how much she meant every word, like she was living it.
And then you have Paul Potts, the phone salesman who blew everyone away with opera.
Nessun Dorma, right? Talk about a power move.
I mean, opera can be kind of intimidating, but Paul made it feel so personal.
He did, and it's so interesting how both Susan and Paul tapped into this thing. We all love the underdog story.
Yeah, it's like we're all rooting for them to succeed.
Right, it gives you hope, like anyone can achieve greatness.
It really does. Makes you think how much amazing talent is out there just waiting to be discovered.
Tons, I bet. And speaking of talent, we got to talk about Jennifer Hudson and Leona Lewis.
Oh, yeah, true powerhouses.
Seriously, they both went on to have huge careers.
And you can see why, even in their early auditions.
Right, like Jennifer Hudson's Share Your Love With Me.
Oh, man, that performance.
It wasn't just her voice, it was her whole presence.
Right, the way she moved, the intensity.
Like she was pouring her heart and soul into it.
It was so powerful. And Leona Lewis, her Over the Rainbow, so technically flawless.
But also so still, so focused.
Yeah, it was almost like she was channeling something.
Totally, like she was letting the music flow through her.
And that control, those notes just soared.
Amazing breath control. It's like she was creating magic with her voice.
She really was. And you know what's so cool? They both had such different styles, but they both achieved that same thing.
What's that?
They drew you in, made you feel every single word.
Yeah, like they created their own world with their voices.
And sometimes that world is created by someone incredibly young.
Oh, totally. Like Grace VanderWaal.
Sue was only 12.
Right. And she performed an original song, I Don't Know My Name. I mean, that's impressive enough on its own.
Super impressive, and the way she performed, so natural.
Totally, just like she was jamming out in her bedroom.
It was so authentic. And then you have Jackie Evancho, who was belting opera at 10 years old.
Oh mio babino caro. Talk about a powerhouse.
Seriously, she was singing like a seasoned pro.
It's amazing, right? Like, how do you develop that kind of skill so young?
I know. Makes you wonder, nature versus nurture.
Yeah, is it something you're born with or something you learn?
Maybe it's both. Like some people are just wired for music, and then they work really hard to develop it.
That makes sense. And both Grace and Jackie really challenge what we think is possible at different ages.
Yeah, they prove that talent doesn't have an age limit.
It's inspiring, right? Like anyone can do anything.
Totally. And speaking of doing things differently, let's talk about Melanie Martinez and Adam Lambert.
Oh, yeah. They both took familiar songs and flipped them on their heads.
Melanie with Toxic. Such a dark and haunting take on a pop classic.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Her voice is so different from Britney Spears's, you know.
Right, it's like smoky and mysterious.
Yeah, like she transformed this bubblegum song into something totally new.
It was, and even her outfit, so unique and theatrical.
And it all worked together to create this really distinct vibe.
Definitely memorable. And then there's Adam Lambert talk about stage presence.
He took Rock With You, a classic Michael Jackson song, and injected it with so much rock and roll energy.
He owned that stage, hitting those high notes like it was nothing.
It was clear he was a star from that moment on.
He was like, this is who I am, world.
Yeah, that confidence, it's infectious.
It really is. And you know, it's amazing how music can remind us that we're all connected, even with our differences.
That's a perfect segue to Josh Kaufman and Cody Lee.
They both delivered such moving performances.
And both highlighted how music can be a universal language.
Yeah, like with Cody, who's blind and autistic, his performance of A Song for You was so powerful.
It was. It showed how music can transcend any barrier.
And Josh's One More Try. So soulful, so much emotion.
He really connected with those lyrics, like he was telling his own story.
It was like he was letting us into his heart.
And they both achieved that connection through music, which is pretty amazing.
It is. So we've talked about a lot, but what are some of the common threads we're seeing in these amazing auditions?
Well, raw talent's definitely important,
Sure, but it's not the only thing.
right? You need that emotional connection, the ability to make the audience feel something.
Like you said, make them feel chills.
Exactly. And we've also seen how important originality and personality are,
Yeah, being yourself, owning your style.
right? Whether it's through your song choice or just your performance style.
And let's not forget the power of
Oh
surprise.
yeah, those unexpected moments that blow you away.
It's a good reminder that amazing talent can come from anywhere.
So true. So much more to explore on this top 10 list.
Stay tuned as we dive into the rest of these unforgettable auditions and uncover more of what makes them so special. You know, it's incredible to think how one audition can change everything for these singers.
Oh, totally. Like a launch pad?
Yeah, and their stories, like Josh Kaufman and Cody Lee, really highlight how music can connect us.
Absolutely. It's a universal language, right?
It is. And for someone like Cody, who faces unique challenges, it's even more powerful.
Yeah, his Song for You was so raw, so honest.
It was, and it made me think about how music can give you strength, you know?
Oh, for sure. Like it can help you find your voice.
Literally. And we see that same spirit in Melanie Martinez's audition.
Oh, with Toxic.
Yeah, she totally reinvented that song.
She did. She made it her own.
It was bold, but it worked,
And it showed she's not afraid to be different.
which is so important for any artist.
Right. You gotta stand out.
And sometimes that means taking a familiar song and making it something completely new.
Like Adam Lambert did with Rock With You.
Oh, man, he transformed that song.
He did. So much energy.
He was like a rock star from another planet.
I know, right? And both Melanie and Adam used their auditions to make a statement.
It was more than just singing. It was like, this is who I am.
Exactly. They showcased their artistry.
And that brings us back to individuality, finding your own voice, like Grace Vanderwall.
I don't know my name. So much confidence for someone so young.
It was inspiring, and she wasn't trying to be anyone else.
And that authenticity is what made Leona Lewis's Over the Rainbow so special, too.
Oh, yeah, she just let the emotion flow through her.
And those high notes.
Effortless.
It was like she was born to sing that song.
She was amazing, and it's interesting how different singers can achieve that same impact.
Right. There's no one right way to do it.
It's about finding what works for you and the song.
And sometimes it's about technical skill, like Jackie Evancho. She was unreal.
10 years old, singing opera like a pro.
I know, it's mind-blowing. Her voice was so mature.
It's like she was born with it.
And yet it still had this innocence, you know?
Yeah, like a purity.
It's amazing, and it reminds us that talent can surprise you.
For sure, like never underestimate anyone.
And that brings us back to Susan Boyle and Paul Potts.
The ultimate underdogs.
They showed us that it's never too late to chase your dreams.
And that anything is possible if you believe in yourself.
So we've talked about a lot, but what does it all mean for our listeners? I think it's about the power of music, how it can connect us, inspire us.
It can give you a voice, help you overcome obstacles.
And whether you're a singer or just a music lover, there's always something to learn from these auditions.
Totally. Like, what makes a performance truly great?
Is it the vocals, the emotion, the originality?
What resonates with you the most?
We'd love to hear your thoughts as we finish up our top 10 countdown.
We've covered some serious vocal ground here, from powerhouse singers to unexpected stars, and it's amazing how music can move us like that.
It really is. And as we wrap up our deep dive into these unforgettable auditions, I think it's so cool how some singers just break the mold, you know?
Totally. Like Grace Vanderwall. Remember her with
Yeah.
I Don't Know My Name?
Oh yeah, she was something else, especially at 12.
It wasn't just the ukulele or her voice, it was her authenticity.
You nailed it. She wasn't trying to be a pop star. She was just being herself.
And it worked. It was like a breath of fresh air.
Totally. And that same individuality can look different for everyone, like Leona Lewis, for example.
Oh, Leona, with Over the Rainbow.
Yeah, her performance was technically perfect. Yeah.
But
it was more than that, you know.
Oh, I know, those soaring notes. So precise.
But she also held back, let the emotion build.
It was powerful, and it made me think about how different singers can achieve that same impact in totally different ways.
Right. There's no formula for a great performance.
It's about finding what works for you and the song.
And sometimes it's about that technical mastery that just blows you away, like Jackie Evancho.
Oh, Jackie, at 10 years old, incredible.
Her O Mio Babino Caro was astounding, that level of skill at that age.
It's almost unbelievable, right?
It is. It shows what dedication can do.
She sounded like a seasoned pro.
But there was still that innocence to her voice. which made it even more special.
It really did, and it reminds us that talent can pop up anywhere.
For sure, and sometimes when you least expect it.
And speaking of unexpected, we can't forget Josh Kaufman.
Oh, his One More Try got to me.
Such a soulful performance. He really connected with those
He
lyrics.
made it his own.
It was like he was sharing a piece of his heart with us.
Exactly. And he didn't need any fancy stuff. It was just his voice and the song.
And I think that's a beautiful thing to remember.
What's that?
There are so many ways to create a memorable performance. We've seen it all throughout this deep dive.
We have. And it all boils down to finding your own voice, connecting with the audience.
It's about the talent, the passion, the vulnerability.
And it's about the power of music to bring us together.
So no matter who you are, if you love music, if you love singing, remember this.
There's a whole world of music out there to explore, stories to tell, emotions to share.
Keep listening, keep discovering, and never be afraid to let your own voice shine through.
Well said. And thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of amazing singing auditions.
Until next time, keep the music playing.